Television, welcome to Our Top Stories, making a local news bulletin. I am Leonora Jawala. First, we have a look at the headlines. Sustainable food systems will unleash economic potential in Sierra Leone, according to the Vice President, Dr. Mohamed Jewel Dejalo.
That as a country, our investment in food production over the years, the Minister was here. He spoke about the Malabo declaration of 10%. Today, we are 3%. We know that is very low.
The Economic Association of Sierra Leone holds second annual conference aimed at brainstorming in addressing some of the accompanied economic challenges that tends to undermine growth.
Whether you are paying for residential accommodation that is quoted in foreign currency, you are busy searching for a job, being paid a non-competitive wage, the value of your earnings keep eroding in real terms, the biggest player there is the economy.
Sub-Lieutenant Samuel Conte becomes the first regular combatant naval officer from the Republic of Sierra Leone Forces, trained at the Nigerian Defense Academy.
When I left Sierra Leone as a civilian and as a young boy, I was not having any idea of any foreign country, so I really found it very difficult, especially the conversion process from being a civilian to a military man.
All this making the headlines. And now let's get you details of the news. The Vice President, Dr. Mohamed Jewel Dejalo, said that sustainable food systems will unleash economic potential in Sierra Leone. He made the statement during a high-level meeting on Sustainable Agri-Food System Transformation Initiative held at the Neighborhood Fields Hotel on Tuesday, 22nd November. Judge Elliot Sam was there and he files in this report.
In a statement, the FAO representative said Sierra Leone has a significant natural resource base and diverse agroeconomies, making it highly suitable for developing a diverse sustainable system.
It's very rare to see this level of importance attached to this particular sector by government at a much higher level. To have the Vice President, to have the Minister of State, to have the Minister of Agriculture, Minister of Planning, and these other ministers, and the EU ambassador as well, to be present in this kind of event, and also to show their commitment, not just being present, but showing their commitment to support these food systems succeed. That's very important for us. And also for FAO, we see this as a milestone in the country towards ensuring food and nutrition security in the country.
The Minister of State in the Office of the Vice President, Honorable Francis Algali, stated that the agro-food program will be very good for Sierra Leone as it will provide more good opportunities for farmers to make mass production.
This is a good opportunity for us as Sierra Leoneans to rethink about food production, food systems in the country. It's not the time for us to do business as usual. The Office of the Vice President, we stand ready to bring together all the stakeholders, which we have done today, to make sure that we do not work in silos, but we collaborate and coordinate the work that we are doing. As you heard from the presentation, no one ministry can be able to produce food for Sierra Leone. No one ministry would not be able to have that responsibility. It has to be the collaborative effort of all the ministries that are involved in food systems. And this is what we have done in the Office of the Vice President. We're trying to bring all the ministries together. We're trying to bring synergy in the work that they're doing. We're trying to make them see the interrelatedness.
The Minister of Agriculture, Ambassador Dr. Abubakar Karim, in a statement said the government policy 2021-2022 inflections indicate an intention to direct public policy for creating an enabling environment for private sector-led initiative to expand rice cultivation, double farmers' income, and contribute to a vibrant rural economy. This is the right opportunity for farmers to grab because, as a country, we should be able to feed ourselves, he stated.
What we've done as a ministry through the support of His Excellency the President's vision for food self-sufficiency was actually bring in ensure that we put more lowland under cultivation, because we all know all too often agriculture in this country has been by manual means, and if we really want to change the dynamics, that is not going to help us. We know we are importing in excess of over $400 million just on food, of which half of that goes to rice importation. And considering that we have the right type of ecology, 4 key ecologies, polylands, IDS, riverine areas, and mangroves, where we grow everything and they can do very well. But it takes policy directives for us to be able to implement, and that is what the government of His Excellency President Julius Maada Bio have done.
The European Union ambassador to Sierra Leone, Moral Miller, said agriculture is a key sector for Sierra Leone economy, as the sector represents 50% of the country's GDP growth, and as the sector is also responsible for providing the much needed food for the country's growing population.
Agriculture is a key sector for Sierra Leone's economy. It represents more than 50% of the country's GDP and employs nearly two-thirds of the active population. Most importantly, agriculture is responsible for providing nutritious food to the population of Sierra Leone. The COVID-19 pandemic and the Russian war on Ukraine have weakened most countries' economies. The food price hike is driven by inflation that economies are struggling to control.
While addressing the press, the Minister of Planning and Economic Development, Professor Dr. Francis M. Kaikai, said when talking about food system, does not only limited to the production aspect, but there are so much involved. He further that the agro-food is a welcome idea that will help farmers to grow more crops and make mass production.
And honestly, if we don't come together and make sure this is well coordinated nationally and down to district level, is going to be problematic. And that's where the guarantee should come from government, to make sure that we have a coordination mechanism in place, not only here in Freetown at the center, but also at the district level, to make sure all these key players involved in the food system, they will operate together. And we'll make sure that the coordination system we put there, they will also focus on making sure this transition to the agri-food system really works. So all those key players have to come together to support the production side, to support the marketing side, to support the transportation, to support the consumption side.
Making his keynote address, the Honorable Vice President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, Dr. Mohamed Julde Jallow, said that sustainable food system will unleash economic potential of Sierra Leone. He further stated that together we can grow what we can eat and eat what we can grow.
And as a country, our investment in food production over the years, the Minister was here. He spoke about the Malabo Declaration of 10%. Today, we are 3%. We know that is very low because we are taking 2% of that same project for irrigation, and then we have progressively increased help to 11.7%. But make no mistake, even with that and the support of development partners, we have done a lot in that sector.
For Star TV News in Freetown, George Elliott Sam reporting.
The Economic Association of Sierra Leone has on Thursday, November 24th, held its second annual conference on the theme Economic Uncertainties, COVID-19 and Geopolitical Tensions, the way forward for Sierra Leone and Africa. The conference is aimed at brainstorming in addressing some of the accompanied economic challenges that tends to undermine growth. Adonis Francis is also small.
The Economic Association of Sierra Leone is a non-profit making and non-governmental professional organization. Each year, the association holds its annual conference, which is part of their policy to provide economic research based on evidence to policies at the national level. According to the president of the association, B.I.B. Kabo, it is imperative on them to seriously contribute to domestic national economic policies, noting that today's congregation is to witness the second annual conference with another topical theme titled Economic Uncertainty, COVID-19 and Geopolitical Tensions.
We are gathered here in this auspicious occasion of our second annual conference, not just as individuals from diverse professions and ethnicities, but for the love of our existence, which the economists call in Latin Homo economicus. That is, we are here as rational economic men. Many of our colleagues are here today to gain some insight into how the economy actually functions. Our distinguished guest speaker has done some amount of justifications into that. Whether you are paying for residential accommodation that is quoted in foreign currency, you are busy searching for a job, being paid a non-competitive wage, the value of your earnings keep eroding in real terms, the biggest player there is the economy. It is the economy that we all share in common, regardless of your political beliefs and the region of birth. It is the economy that sets the terms for our joint prosperity. As a National Society of Economists, we are a not-for-profit and apolitical organization. We believe in contributing to nation building through research initiatives. And I think that is the reason our guest speaker has thrown a huge challenge to us as a professional body. We are not activists. We are not a pressure group. We are a professional, distinguished academic association.
Dr. Francis Mustafa Kaikai, Minister of Development and Economic Planning, who served as a keynote speaker, stated that the main foundation of any sound result-oriented national development plans is a well-policy research which has to be continuous and covering many aspects, including plan formulation processes, plan implementation, monitoring, evaluation, or entering learning. Adding that the association is well positioned to serve the economic research needs from both the demand and supply side of business, as most of the stakeholders are homegrown and familiar with the general development landscape of the country, which is inextricably linked to the dynamic of the global development.
No one could have been happier for the establishment of the Economic Association of Sierra Leone than the Ministry of Planning and Economic Development, charged with the responsibility of providing strategic direction to the state through promoting critical thinking, translated into national development plan formulation and implementation management processes. We certainly will be looking forward to partnering with the EASL in generating research and knowledge products to feed into our mandate and national development planning and management processes. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, let me now turn to the theme of the conference, economic uncertainties, COVID-19 and geopolitical tensions, the way forward. Mr. Chairman, there can hardly be another topic worthy of discussion in contemporary times than the theme of this year's conference. Prior to the ravages of the COVID-19 and the subsequent geopolitical tensions generated from the Russian-Ukraine war, we were already grappling with the devastations of climate change and biodiversity loss across the world with its attendant food and other human security crises. COVID-19 emerged to increase the stock of global challenges, while the war on Ukraine was backed to compound them with disastrous effects of humanity in a proportion that is akin to the fallout of the 1930s depression and the Second World War.
While delivering his presentation on the topic, optimizing the private sector as a vehicle for economic diversification, job creation, and sustainable growth in the context of the current crisis, Abdul Mwangi, the World Bank country manager, noted that Sierra Leone is endowed with a lot of resources which can be used to create jobs. But the question is, how do we do that? He continued displaying the ways in his presentation.
The question we have is, where are the jobs? And what can we do to get more jobs? And what quality of jobs are we talking about? And all that stuff. Well, there will be jobs in the public sector, there will be jobs in the private sector, there will be jobs in the international and NGO family and CSOs, but there will be plenty of jobs in the informal sector. And then, where are the jobs? Could this be the agriculture sector? Is it in manufacturing? Is it in agriculture? Is it in fisheries? Yes, there are jobs in all those sectors, but the question again is, how do we get to see more of these jobs to contribute to really improving the lives of Sierra Leoneans in general? This slide sets out the framework of the opportunities that we can build our discussion upon, and I'll come back to this at the conclusion. Previous slide, please, before we go to this. The country is endowed with natural resources. Question, how do we optimize this to work for Sierra Leone? The country is endowed with human resources, and as we note, the current emphasis is really on enhancing both education, health, but also the resilience of Sierra Leoneans through the programs under implementation. The leadership, the vision, and the policy environment is in place. So the question is, how do we then build on that to see how we proceed? In terms of opportunities within the regional context, previous speakers have talked about the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement. We have the Africa Growth and Opportunities Act, and then obviously the ECOWAS market. These are opportunities to see how we leverage more opportunities for jobs to be created.
For Star News, Adonis Francis reporting.
Sub-Lieutenant Samuel Conte becomes the first regular combatant naval officer from the Republic of Sierra Leone Forces, trained at the Nigerian Defense Academy in Kaduna for 5 years. The Nigerian Defense Academy is a military university based in Kaduna, Nigeria, that trains police architects for commissioning into one of the 3 services of the Nigerian Armed Forces: the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force. Sub-Lieutenant Samuel Conte returns home and spoke to my colleague Abdulrahman Kamara in this interview.
At the beginning, the course was somehow rough, based on I left Sierra Leone as a civilian, and as a young boy, I was not having any idea of any foreign country, so I really found it very difficult, especially the conversion process from being a civilian to a military man. It was not easy. At a point, I almost dropped the course, because at that point, other African countries, the cadets have already dropped the course. We were 7, but I was the only one that passed out. Nigerian Defense Academy being the toughest military academy in Africa, it was not easy, but towards the end of the training, I got to enjoy the training, because I've got to know and understand the way they train and all that thing, so I got to enjoy the training. And at that point, when I wanted to leave, there was a statement that was keeping me, a statement from then Wing Commander Kumba, now Captain Kumba. When I was going, in his words, he said, since 1996 we've not gotten slot from Nigeria, and you are the first Sierra Leonean regular officer to be trained there. So you are going as a civilian. You either go and make or mark way for more slots. So anytime that statement come across me, like I used to be refilled, I used to have extra energy to continue, because But towards the end of the course, I got 100 going because like I don't want to let my country down. For me, letting my country down, I've let my family down and all that. Regular combatant naval officer. Okay, let me break it down for you. The military in the world, though we are not practicing regular training here, they have different type of training. They have regular training. Those regular officers are officers, like I can say, they are experts. They are experts in the field because you do both academic and the military training. Like my course was for 5 years, 4 years for academic training, where you pass out with a bachelor in any field. And after which you go for a 1 year military training, which they will teach you, they will train you almost everything you need to know in your field, whether you're an army officer, you're an air force officer, or you're a naval officer. For the navy, you go to sea, on board vessels. You have to cone vessels, you have to move vessels on board sea for the period of training. So like regular officers, I can say they are experts. I don't say other officers are not experts. Like their own training is somehow beginning. It was challenging for me. Like I went through a lot. I actually went through a lot, but thank God I made it. But towards the ending, I got 100 course. The difficult moment was my first 2 years in the academy, where I was got to convert from, where they got to convert me from being a civilian to a military officer. Like, you know, training, they have to convert you from a civilian to a military officer. You have to know their ethics, the way they behave. You have to actually train every aspect of your life. So that period was the most difficult period, not even in the academy, in my life. Of God, I will actually give my all to the armed forces, not only the Navy, to the armed forces of Sierra Leone. I will give my all. I will try to pass on what I've learned from Nigeria Defense Academy, from anybody that I come across. Actually, train men, train my subordinates. Praise God, we started acquiring vessels. Our Navy have started acquiring vessels. With the help of those vessels, I will contribute my own quota in protecting our maritime environment to the extent of our EEZ, that our economic exclusive zone, if possible to the extent to our regional zone, with the help of the armed forces, and if I will be opportune to do all those. The armed forces actually, they are trying. Actually, you know, Nigeria, they're actually going through a lot. They have so many crises. They're investing a lot in the armed forces. They're actually trying, they have equipment. The Navy, actually, I can say, cannot be the best, but among the best in Africa. They have what it takes.
In case you've just joined us, this is the local news bulletin here on Star TV. Now, the Teaching Service Commission and CGA Technologies has on Monday, November 23rd, engaged national stakeholders to introduce to them the pilot phase of the WIDEA project, a new education attendance monitoring system. Participants during the stakeholders meeting include the Sierra Leone Teachers Union, the National Council of Head Teachers, Conference of Principals, among others, at the Ministry of Basic and Senior Secondary Education. Hassan Kuruma reports.
The meeting comes ahead of a 60 school pilot of WIDEA, starting a week from now. 60 primary schools across 5 districts, Karine, Falaba, Moyamba, Kono and Western Area Urban, will take part in a pilot to test the system on the ground and help shape how it will be implemented. But how does the WIDEA project aims to achieve? Muniri Kawa is the country coordinator, CGA Technologies. He explains more.
The WIDEA project is an app designed and developed to capture data on teacher attendance and pupil attendance. We know teacher absenteeism is a perennial problem in schools across the country. We also know that pupil figures have in most cases been inflated in without accurate data provided to the Ministry of Basic and Senior Secondary School Education. So the ministry is done twice that they will need accurate data on people, and also they will need accurate data on teachers, not only to determine the number of teachers, but also to be able to locate where the teachers are. Specifically, it will help to improve learning outcomes also. Because if the teachers are not in the school, then learning will not take place. And if the pupils are not in the school, then learning will not take place. So basically, the first thing is to improve the learning outcomes. We know the FQSC, or Free Quality School Education, emphasizes on learning outcomes. And in order to achieve that, we should have the teachers, trained and qualified teachers. And in order for the learners also to achieve what is planned for them, is to be present in the classrooms. Yeah. So learning outcomes will be the key things or outcome or achievement from this project. And also, more importantly, is the fact that it will help the Ministry of Education to block some of the leakages. I mean, if the teachers have disappeared from the schools, and they are still on the payroll, then that's feeding on ghost teachers. But if the data is collected on teachers that are absent, that are no longer teaching, then those teachers can be removed from the payroll, and fiscal space will be provided, wherein ministry can add more teachers. You know? Also, the ministry will be able to determine the right number of pupils that are attending, like I said. So when government provides school subsidies, they are providing school subsidies to schools that are accurate and verifiable.
The WIDEA project seeks to provide biometric teacher attendance, cloud-based database, login for district and headquarter staff, web-based dashboards for district and headquarter staff as a way to effectively monitor and gather up-to-date data from targeted schools within projected districts. On his part, the chairman of the Teaching Service Commission, Conrad Saki, noted that as a commission, they have a mandate to manage and monitor their teachers, adding that the attendance monitoring tool is a plus to the commission that will in turn ease a burden on their parts.
Well, I think first of all we have a mandate to manage our teachers, and one of the elements of managing any workforce is for those people to attend, to come to work on time and to be at work. And so the attendance monitoring system is a tool that enables us to do this. But it's not just teachers, it is also learners. Let's think about it. If learning is going to take place, then there are two elements that need to meet. Teachers need to be in that classroom, and the learners also need to be in that class. And so it is critical that we have those two elements meeting in order to ensure that learning takes place. But let's put it this way. I mean, the TSC is a very inclusive organization. And so right at the inception of the process, we brought in all stakeholders, including the Sierra Leone Teachers Union. We've also included the Conference of Principals of Secondary Schools. We also have the National Council of Head Teachers. We have, to a certain extent, also include civil society organizations. And we have included our parents' ministry, the Ministry of Basic and Senior Secondary School Education, and all the relevant ministries. So we have a representative currently from the Public Sector Reform Unit, because this is a reform that we are bringing into the public space. And so, in essence, what we want to do is to make sure that at every phase of the process, we have the support of all the relevant stakeholders. Through that support, it provides us with a channel which we can use to cascade this information to all their members.
This WIDEA app will help in tracking learner registration and managing admission numbers also make volunteers feel belonged and that they are being considered, and as well talk about disabilities among many other potential benefits. For Star TV News in Freetown, Hassan Koroma reporting.
The Trad Engineering Company Limited, a real investment trust that gives opportunity to low, middle and high income earners to invest in income producing properties, has officially launched the Bike Riders Investment Scheme at the John James Complex in the east end of Freetown. There is Moses Ojukamara with more.
Making a statement, the president of the Sierra Leone Commercial Motorbike Riders Association, Umar Tiba, noted that he is pleased, especially seeing the Ministry of Lands, which shows a sign of trust and commitment. Adding that, the Commercial Bike Riders Association have a constituent of over 1 million. He emphasized that his association is pleased receiving such opportunities, but he however called on the bike riders to be honest during the process and stick to the agreement.
And with the bike riders now, we tell you that to be honest. Even though I know we get fears, when there are some questions where they don't fire me. These people, they not go be like the other one then, the other one then, the other one then. What are they? We don't do good before. Yes. But again, if we not think positive, sometimes we think negative, we go there. But again, we not go think, we not go let the past, because that government will think positive. People that belong and they talk fine, then they do good. So when people go call like wealth builder, lift above poverty, and all that thing. Just but again, you go watch because that left don't wound you. You're not going to use that gun for cook tomorrow. No, you go for take a whole lot aside, go take that whole lot now. So now try these people as and the young people there. But no more, any questions you want to get, you want to ask them. Me now, what make me powerful? Because I make any time when they call me, and they call you now, and see for yourself, and talk for yourself.
On his part, the Operations and Managing Director of Triad Engineering Company, Alhaji Amadou Sise, said the company was established in 2017 as a way to salvage over 1 million housing deficits in Sierra Leone. He explains more on their activities and the need for the launch of this Bike Riders Investment Scheme.
So the reason why we're here today, and for tell the bike man the opportunity we don't come at the doorstep. Because initially, we not be one consider the bike man at this initial stage. Because we all focus and for target people then where they on payroll. Because the money they for the cut out from source. They for the cut the money from source. Now that now we focus for deal with people then where government they pay. But the national executive through the Secretary General, they approach me because they say this is a good thing for the members. This is a good thing where they able to make all the members they able to speak now post. This is a good thing where they make the members the feature be secure. So they approach we decide for establish now with department at the real estate investment trust department, which we call all bike man for girl hosts, when at the bike riders investment scheme, where their own contribution in minimum. Because the other sectors the way they work, the minimum contribution now 1 million.
It's not all about bragging for talk, but they count action. We don't see companies that we come 1 to 3 years, then take the money they run away. Once we allay me particular affair for this particular institution, now the fact say each and every member of this particular institution now young man them. And just imagine we get this kind of man with this kind of initiative, get this money say, let me company Salomon them build. We get houses them people that don't start and never end because of risk investment to them. We get people that will trust and Salome, sister, brothers in the diaspora. Then they send them money, people in the eat them. Now it's simple. You don't need to like yourself again. Any how much amount you get, just tell me what you want to do. You want to buy land. You get also you able to finish again. What they do one for you?
Banking partners from Sierra Leone Commercial Bank and United Bank for Africa were in attendance as a way to assure potential investors to rely on Triad services. The event climaxed with the official launch of the Bike Riders Investment Scheme, buying and distribution of investment slots, opening forms, and investment book. For Star News, compiled by Hassan Koroma, I am Moses Ojukamara reporting.
Well, many thanks to you all for watching. That's all we have time for in our news bulletin for today. I am Leonora Jawara Thank you for your time. Do stay with us for more programs coming up.